Tonight, we have what could be an electrifying matchup here today at ESL Challenger League, Season 49 in North America. My name is Laz, still joined here with the lovely Paladin to bring you an exciting game ahead with the newly found former boss team becoming the Blue Jays, looking to soar their way to maintaining their #1 position in the league with a 16-2 record against Marsborne, whereas Marsborne been looking to bounce back from the choppy waters of the sea of red losses that they've been having to maintain a top 10 position in the league with their full roster in motion now.
And I think a big issue as to why Marsborne were not as successful is because they didn't have Grizz in the lineup, and now they do. Now you have an opportunity to see what this full strength lineup can do against some of the best rosters within North America. This is the schedule that we've got going on here in the final streams of ECL tonight. Blue Jays and Marsborne here on the A stream, and over there on the B stream, Bryson and Hollow to take you through Legacy versus Lag. You don't want to miss that banger of a matchup with the Brazilians finally traveling on over to start their stint of ECL here in the States. Excited to get into this one though, because honestly, Laz, I've just been so proud as a North American to see the level that I've been seeing out of Blue Jays in the last few months. It's a gutting hit to lose your captain, but they made the tactical decision to pick up Snav. And what has that done to that lineup? I mean, the results can speak for themselves. In 16 matches, they've only lost twice, and they've split games with NRG. So that, to me, dictates that this team is clearly on the up and up. This core is here to stay. They will not go quietly into the night. In fact, they are a mainstay within North America, and their additions look very, very dangerous, to say the least.
Yeah, they definitely do, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing where we were talking about, Blue Jays, a European organization coming in, picking up for Boss, a really, really exciting group because, again, these guys have always kind of been on the cusp of being able to do something really, really great. We talk about the coaching staff of Ward, and we talk about some of the different players that are on this team. We were just waiting for the right time to see when will these guys pop off? When will they have their moment to actually shine bright here in the league? And we're having it right now. These guys are sitting in that #1 position like you could see before. And I mean, again, you're playing against Marsborne where it has been a little bit, more of a dicey affair for them. They have had a lot of roster issues just in terms of Grizz being absent, Steel having to kind of jump in. So it hasn't really been the best scenario for these guys. But look, we got word that, Marsborne, they're ready to go. They have their full roster in motion. Grizz is back. So that's an exciting thing to see just because, Paladin, I'll let you kind of steer the wheel on this one. But look, if you're going to need a player back, it's definitely Grizz.
Oh, absolutely, right? I mean, you look at how Wolfie was able to call on some of the previous games that we've casted here on ECL, and you see that the way they maneuver these players around the chess game, so to speak, looks beautiful. It looks like it's all ready to go, but they can't find the necessary incisions to actually make the strategy work. And at that point, you need a blunt tool, and Grizz is that blunt tool. He will demolish into bomb sites, similar to somebody like Naite that we saw in the last game between Odic and Sharks. A guy that can just win you around through sheer brilliance. And you need somebody like that to break open the game, because unfortunately in Counter-Strike, it does come down to the kills, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you can put all the players in the right positions. You can have the opportunity of a lifetime to claim these rounds, but at the end of the day, you still need kills to back up these bomb plants, to back up the diffusers. And I mean, these ratings, this impact, this ADR in the last 3 months should speak for itself. I mean, he's done a lot to shoulder some of the aggressive tendencies for this Marsborne roster. And then on top of that, if you add in some of these appearances from players like MOTM and Minus, things get a little bit more dangerous for Marsborne. They start to become a little bit more of a threat. And that last X factor that I'll have to talk about is Wolfie. And I think that individually he's had his ups and downs. He's definitely had a lot more ups as of recent. So I would like to see a little bit more out of him with that big green. And if he can go toe-to-toe with somebody like Slight, who's more dedicated into the role, who doesn't have to think about the calling aspect of the game as much.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's the biggest thing to, talk about is the fact, like, we have been waiting for Grizz to kind of come back into this roster for quite some time. And as you can see, his ratings are great. Lots of good ADR and impact and everything that he can bring to the table. But it's a question now if, they've been able to get some good practice in with him kind of being back into the team, things like that. But I mean, the other thing too is, for this, Blue Jays roster, like we talked about, like having Snav, like I think the one thing I'll let you kind of talk a little bit about is the IGLs, right? I mean, we have kind of this like mastermind versus mastermind, and who really is going to be the bigger brain in these two best of ones.
I mean, I was going to be honest. I didn't expect this Snav move to work. I thought it was a real risk considering the lineup that he came from. But I mean, when you don't have Cryptic in your lineup anymore, you're going to have to make some tough decisions. And bringing in Snav was a big time decision. It's worked out splendidly for them. It works really well with this lineup, and I honestly think that with the addition of Wolf alongside him, this team suddenly looks very deadly. On the other side of things, Wolfie was thrust into this position. He wasn't expecting to do this. He had Steel that was supposed to lead everything and figure everything out. Now he's got to do it, and he's honestly done a pretty fair job as well. So both of these players having sort of been thrust into a new project and a new role all of a sudden, and having to don that captain role for both sides is very important, and we'll see how they develop. We're ending on Ancient here, a map that I think both of these teams are very familiar on. Blue Jays, I mean, especially all the iterations of Boss have always been distinctly favorable on Ancient, and they would love to have Snav call around this team on this map specifically. So I think this will be a real barn burner to start off this series.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, that's the thing too. Like, it's a good thing you bring up, because even just like the other iterations of this Blue Jays team is the fact of, they had losses back in the day of, like M80 and, nouns and things like that. And I think the odd one was, like odd being a different word, but for getting info, right? But these guys have really been able to have a lot of wins on this map historically as a group, essentially, which is a really good thing to see. And the same thing over for the side here for Marsborne, where not as many official maps for them per se, but I mean, again, they've also played matches against Nouns, M80, where those games have been relatively close as well in terms of score lines, like 13-9 losses, like a 16-14 loss. So in all, like it really does feel like this is like the best matchup that we could have here to start this best of one. I mean, the veto, like I was kind of curious if they were going to go to Ancient or if they would have tried to do something a little bit different, just because we know that, Anubis is a good map as well for Blue Jays. We know they like Nuke in, a lot of their practice as well. So I think this is a good starting point here to see what Marsborne can bring to the table, because again, I think there's a lot of expectations for, Blue Jays debut, but at the same time, Marsborne are in kind of a unique position where they really do need to get themselves some wins, and they got to get it quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And their backs are up against a wall in some senses in this matchup specifically. And you talk about all these close losses and the amount of heartbreak that Marsborne have been having. This is where I think you add in Grizz into that conversation, and it becomes a completely different one. Maybe this guy can get you an extra round here and there, maybe a clutch if he's put on the other side of him. And if that's possible, hey, we've got a real game on our hands. But I got to talk about the rifle core of the Blue Jays and how the potency that they've shown. I mean, of course, Wolf is top of the table as far as Blue Jays players are concerned on one end, but you've also got this aggressive rifler in Fruit Cup, who, honestly, I was really worried about losing his captain in Cryptic, whether his level could be maintained. He had a little bit of land exposure after the Shanghai RMR. And now I just feel like he's really turning a corner in his development. He's becoming a little bit more independent. He's becoming a little bit more stronger in terms of individual mechanics. And they're giving him a little bit more space to do what he wants. Now that he's getting a little bit more comfortable in this more deeper end of ECL. And I'm very excited to see his development in a matchup like this against Marsborne, where it will be stiffer competition. But I think he's very well ready for such a test, and I think he's risen to that occasion multiple times already.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the other thing I was kind of, for me, I thought I was a little bit surprised about with like a team like Blue Jays is like Freshie. I mean, I feel like we've seen him on different teams before where he's been able to play some unique roles. He was like an entry at one point. He was kind of that like sole rifler. Now I feel like he's kind of playing this more support avenue, right? I mean, I think he's got some good firepower, based with his team. So, I mean, for him, I'm going to be curious how he's going to be able to, keep maintaining his role as well, because I think that's been a bit of an adjustment from what I remember. But look, we're not going to have to wait much longer. We're ready to go. Blue Jays is going to be starting on the CT side, Marsborne on the T side. And now it's all come down to this. Like we said, the number one team of Blue Jays taking on Marsborne.
Let's get into it, man. Full strength lineups, new org, new threads. Really excited to kick this one off. And straight away, it's An aggressive A split coming in for Marsborne, straight into the arms of Freshie. Freshie taps away one, but he gets cornered from both ends. And MOGM brings it back level as the bomb goes down.
Yeah, some good control from Marsborne again, even though, like, you know, they were fighting for mid pretty slowly. They're able to get this bomb down with not too much of a threat. Freshie does get a little bit of one kill on the chop. And now the CT's ready to go. Smoke and a flash available here for the retake with one singular kit. So they do have, you know, the time a little bit on their hands, but Fruit Cup, he's the one that's kind of exploring in mid. He has to be able to find something quick. Now Grizz, he's trying everything. He's just dancing around the box, and this is the guy we were talking about, but he's only going to get the one and done. Defuse getting attempted now through the smoke. The Glock's just tapping away. Bottom's going to be able to find that kill with Wolfie, and they will be able to find their first pistol.
It gets a little dicey there with the kit in play, but Wolf can't punch in the defusal code fast enough. Marsborne get the better of them in that pistol, and I mean the A bomb site is an easier one to retake, but when you have to cordon off so many angles and you've got to use that smoke in that manner, in a more defensive manner, it's a little bit more difficult to pull out the stops. Grizz does some great work to slow down that onslaught with that early kill, but so far so good. One decent XVX going in the favor of Marsborne. Now, aggression from Wolf. I like the idea. Well prepared for it, but the nade takes him down to half HP and he gets obliterated. So that should be it. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm just very excited to watch what a team like Marsborne can do now that they've got no constraints. Because of having to have this hamper of substitution after substitution, I'm actually very happy that we've had these rule changes back into the ESL playbook, that we can allow for full strength rosters to come back out and for us to have a chance at these teams having every opportunity to qualify for playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's a really good thing to bring up because, again, that was a much needed change. So it's good to see that, because that's what we were kind of saying. Like, it was a little unfortunate for a team like Marsborne, where we were saying, like, really exciting for them. Like, they get picked up right by an org, and they're, you know, these new players from all different teams kind of combining together. A lot of potential what they can do, and then they kind of had some roster issues, which then kind of just throws them in a bit of a muck, right? So it is good to see now that we can be full effect and what these teams can really bring to the table. But Marsborne looking pretty so far, puffing their chests a little bit here with the double rounds in their favor. Going to be able to find that opening duel minus, but again, it gets traded out immediately. And now the CTs are starting to sing a little bit more with these rifles, getting that mid control. Marsborne not able to sign any sort of an answer. Slight taking some significant damage here with the utility, but now Wolfie on a big mission on a 1-on-4, but Snap just comes in with a big punch.
I mean, the idea there from Marsborne is they're trying to split into middle straight away. They go through a little bit of utility, but Slight does a great job in slowing down that attack alongside Wolf. And then Snav, I mean, playing Cave like that is very difficult because you've got to find the perfect timing and making sure that there's not a player to your back and you only have to deal with the mid play in front of you. And he plays that timing beautifully to find one back turn and then wins another gunfight as well to close out the round. I mean, that position can be very easy to exploit, but it can also be very dangerous if played correctly. So credit to Snav there to work in tandem with his mid players.
Marsborne going to wait on the back skirts of this, so now they're going to push through long. Fruit Cup now, a strong rifler like we talked about, getting this counter utility, going to be able to maybe slow these guys down, but they're just going to ignore it. They're just going to try to barrel through it. Snav now, the IGL, trying to see what he can do, and he's not able to tuck away on this. And now the T's, they're just kind of standing in the open. They're fully exposed, and they're right in the crosshairs here of the Blue Jays. And now making it onto the 4-on-2. Marsborne now with a Galil and AK in hand, no more utility. I mean, they might just need to pack this round over with unless they can find a duel quick and easy. But, I mean, Paladin, it just doesn't look likely at all.
Yeah, I mean, they were really trying to hope that Grizz opening could have led to something more, but anti-rush protocol is solid from the Blue Jays. You're going to have to work a little bit harder than that, Wolfie, but he'll try to do it himself. But not to be. His counterpart in Slight does the rest, and Freshie taps out minus. Beautiful work there from the Blue Jays in stopping that offense into that B bomb site. And as soon as they slow down, they just get kind of caught in the mud, caught in that smoke, and can't dig themselves out.
Slight with the instant B door smoke. Marsborne, what are you gonna do? I do like this idea. Just again, united front, a unit together. They have one piece of utility. It's going to be a nice little pop flash. That nade might be decent. Yeah, that's huge. Grizz is already down to 22. Wolf might be able to pounce on a few more of these. Oh, Freshy. Oh, no. That's a bit of a missed jump, but he gets away with it still. His life is still going to be intact. And this round should be done and over with. Chalk does get himself a nice little bit of a quick kill, but nothing too much to sweat about. Could have been two if Freshy missed that shot, but nonetheless, Marsborne tried to do something with limited amount of expenses, and now we're right back into a full gun round. Good nade control from Blue Jays once again. Marsborne now going to be able to counteract this, and oh, Wolf's able to get himself on the side of the smoke. How does he get away with a double? Oh no, Monum's not able to find that trade at all. So now Grizz finally gets something, a little bit of a kill. But you can just see once again, Blue Jays single-handedly with a one-man army just able to shut this play down. And Blue Jays in the position here to put themselves in a 4-2, and we're at 1:15 of the 6th round here, Paladin.
Yeah, you got to give credit for Slight flashing from the B bomb side to activate Wolf in middle to get that second. Snav doing well to get a dink, and great work there from Wolf to finish it off with the nade. Slow down from Marsborne, hoping that they can catch a little bit of aggression, and Wolf is low, but he's going to be fighting from a headshot angle, and he'll be taken out regardless on the jump up. Wolfie does find a kill back. So room for Marsborne to maneuver just slightly with that back door of the A bomb site open, but Chop's gonna have to make a tough read here, and he does. He finds a kill on the Slight. Flash ready, Fruit Cup up to bat, the anchor having to do the job, and do the job he shall. Beautiful work there from Fruit Cup, and that's where you see the potency, the development of a youngster like that in the presence of pressure like that.
I wouldn't even mind if Marsborne were actually going to go for a bit of a timeout. I mean, they might not for this round, but I was thinking if they called it now, they can just kind of figure out for round 8, right? But it just seems like they're trying this mid control. It's not really working. This B, control is not really working. I mean, I guess the next logical choice is A, but even right now, Blue Jays actually kind of going for a 2-1-2. So they've actually put a little bit more emphasis here on the A side. Gonna get Slight to rotate himself off on this now. We're just looking. Where is Snav? I think he's deep on Cheetah right now. So he's close on by. He's got that good smoke to block things off, so he doesn't have to worry. So he's actually going to pull back as well. So Marsborne have been able to get themselves a little bit of real estate, better than what we've seen before. But, I mean, the problem is, Paladin, again, like, they don't really have that utility, right? This is all about just hitting shots.
They have been given a lot of space, though. All of mid, front jag as well, lane. Blue Jays are really having a passive stance here. In all honesty, kind of leaning and gambling to that B end, leaving Freshy on a bit of an island. They're fine with retaking this A bomb site, but you don't want to give guns away. They'll send us main front through Red Room with 45 seconds left on the clock, and Wolf should get at least a little bit of a signal. And yeah, there it is. Sound cue given, and now kills can be taken. Wolf does a lot of good work. I think he must have lagged there, but Wolfie will be caught soon enough with this 5-7, and Slight will take care of business. Chop tries to make it interesting, but Blue Jays still read the situation very well.
Yeah, Blue Jays just look again like they're really on the right reading. They just seem like they know the right setups for every situation that's kind of happening right now. And I mean, it's funny, like I feel like Slight's always been kind of a a good conversation to talk about on this team in the past and everything, right? But I mean, he's not even having to do a whole heck of a lot, right? Like you said, I think in the beginning of the pre-show, is Wolf's really improved himself, really starting to just perform a lot better than what we normally seen. Really nice run boost from Freshie. So look at how fast he's able to get onto B lane on this. Doesn't get a whole lot of bodies to find, but man, he's got so much information. And that's the thing that's been so good about Blue Jays, is they've just been rotating so much and getting all that intel.
And again, no mid control for the T's. Or the CTs for that matter. They're keen on leaning a little bit more aggressively on this B bomb site. Snap plays very close and he gets punished, and what a shot from Modem. That's a deep shot to find, and it completely cracks open this B bomb site. Sure, Freshie has found the lurking Jag player, but with the site having fallen, that does bring this round into question. Chop finding another slight, spotting a barrel, but can't convert the kill. Chop has done a lot in this round on his own. And now, Marsborne have been able to break this deadlock that had been building against them. You know, Chop has been a guy that I feel like we kind of have talked about a lot, Laz, and he's been a little bit missing in previous iterations. It'd be great to have him show up in this game today.
Yeah, and it is something that you and I have definitely talked a lot about, because we know what Chop can do, right? We know what he's able to, do in the server, but it kind of felt like he was really just hitting a bit of a slump. But now it makes me want to kind of wonder a little bit, with their full roster in motion, now things are kind of more of a clear path. That might revitalize the player, right? I mean, when you kind of go through different players, and I mean, that's the thing, it's all speculation here, but you had Steel kind of, subbing in. So it's like, do you have multiple IGLs calling the shots? That can always be a chaotic situation. So we definitely didn't see Chop in any, of his stellar performance, but now that things are kind of looking a little bit more on the bright side, hopefully we can see him starting to perform a little bit better. So far, he's doing great. I mean, he's top fragging on his team. We haven't really seen that for quite some time, but we'll see if he can maintain that. Again, really nice run boost here from Wolf. Ooh, but no, he ran right into it. I was thinking, like, surely you're going to stop, right? You're going to hit the brake, but I guess not.
Yeah, big jump Q given over to Minus, and he's gotten around to those antics in middle quite a few times, Wolf. Finally punished in that sense. And with that, Marsborne get a rare 5v4 in their advantage. What do they do with that advantage? They press the issue even further. MOTM finding a stereo frag on the other end in that A site. Blue Jays continue to get sent reeling, having to make a response in some sense, but nothing is being given over to them. Slight sees a little bit of a body, but can't pull the trigger. Marsborne at this point, they've gotten the map space, they've gotten 2 picks, group together and hit a bomb site. Simplify this as quick as possible.
Yeah, that smoke's going to allow them to kind of cross as well. But Blue Jays, I mean, again, just stacking on towards the A side, just realizing, look, like, they're going to go for a gamble. They're not going to be able to have this right read at all. But are they going to re-aggress back into this? Are they going to even attempt it? I don't think they will. Just because, again, you have so much utility available for Slight. You still got the AWP in hand. Marsborne in a great position here, so they should be able to get this free site. But look at the bomb. Oh, no. No. They're going to the wrong site. Oh, no. They're going right to it. Oh, no. And look at Slide. He's able to find this double kill. And now they're realizing, okay, hang on. Don't go away. We got to go B. But look at the time. It's getting so low, down to 12 seconds. He's going to have enough. But man, oh, man, it's cutting it close. And do Blue Jays even want to go for this anymore? They already lost Slight. But Fruit Club's close. Oh, man, I thought he might have been able to find that. But thankfully from Autumn, he finds the kill.
He'll try to get his hand to the last kill of the round, but Snav will have to head for the hills. Very awkward round there from Marsborne, especially considering Chop has gotten all the way to the long side of the map. That you're thinking, I mean, surely you should figure it out at this point that your fake has been sold. You can double back to the B bomb site, but they stick to their guns. They go right into Slight's crosshairs, and even though Slight picks off 2, finally they pull the trigger to move back. They pull that ripcord, and once they get the bomb down, of course, it's going to be an easy situation. Of course, Modem also making it very easy for them, because if he goes down with that A main swing, then it's a 3v2 in a retake situation. It gets very dangerous. At that point, you'd honestly favor the CTs in winning that round. But now, the tale has definitely had a couple of twists in its narrative. Now that Blue Jays have to force around the gun save. But Marsborne, they're battling back in these mid to late round scenarios, and they're real gritty rounds to win, but they're winning them nonetheless. And against a team like Blue Jays, you're going to have to take every opportunity with both hands.
Oh, look at Snap. He's just going to get full aggressive, and now he's even getting that MP9 to work a little bit. He can just fall back, and even Fruit Cup close on by with their dirty deagle. So now the CTs are getting a little bit more cheeky on this. Marsborne have to commit to this. They have no way to turn back. Now they're going to commit to this. Freshie close on by. He's going to get flushed here by the molly. And look at Slight, able to find that too.
Oh.
Make it a third. Why not?
I think his first shot was a collateral, if I'm not mistaken. I saw 2 health bars go down. Slight, you know, as I mentioned in the beginning of the game, I questioned his sniping potential, but so far he has come up to bat multiple times for this defense and has looked stellar. His rotations have been good. His multi-kill potential is also raising. And all right, now I think the Blue Jays are starting to figure out how to use him a little bit more. Tack timeout being called from the Blue Jays. I think they realize, you know, they really pushed the money of Marsborne to the limit. They've got an opportunity to run away with this half. This is a real kind of coin toss of a round. This is going to show and dictate the rest of the narrative for this first half. And Blue Jays would like to put a lot of these hiccups behind them.
Yes, they would. I think we get to... is this the first time we see Wolfie with an op now? Am I crazy?
Yeah, it might be, yeah.
I feel like this is the first time. Okay. And it looks like Marsborne, once again, they've really found that, you know, the B site seems to be what they want to go for. Wolfie looking like he might try to be the entry point here with minus. And Galil will start things off. Now Snap here into Cave. He's dug up something. He's done a big amount of damage, but he needs to find that kill. Hoping to find a bit of a spam damage here. Bamautum gets the better of Slight's head. Now just leaving it to 3 CTs. A little bit of damage getting spammed away here. But now a tough situation once again for the Blue Jays. A 3-on-5. And a lot of questions needing to be answered here. Do they want to go for this again, or do they want to just keep these guns preserved as we get closer to that end of the first round, or the first half, I should say? And it looks like they are just going to tuck tail and get the heck out of here.
Yeah, it's a very easy answer, right? You got a backlane smoke. You've got so much real estate given over to the T side. You have no idea what's going on in long. Back away slowly. Marsborne targeting that B anchor of Fruit Cup and just trying to find that opening entry and exploding off of it. And you saw in the early rounds, after getting that entry, they kind of get a little bit stalled out, trying to deal with potentially some cave aggression. But this time they just simplify it. They go charging in. They don't drop a smoke. They don't drop an extra bit of util. They just go straight in, and they punish Slight on the early swing out from long, and then they roll through. So I like Marsborne adapting to the situation, improving round on round. And at this point, we'll be very happy with the haul that they've gotten in this first half. 5 rounds on this T side is nothing to scoff at, especially considering the great work some of these players can do on the defense. Players like MOTM, players like Chop. All important round here, Laz.
Yeah, the most important round here. It'd be a good way for Marsborne to get things back to an equal footing here if they could.
Oh.
Snap with a missed smoke. Oh, God, that's annoying. But either way, I mean, Grizz is going to get himself into Cheetah. Hanging low. Bit of a spam attempt here from Chop. But again, Blue Jays have actually, you know, committed 4 players at this B site. So they've left mid completely open. Now they have Wolf finally getting his way back over there. Leaving it all to Freshie here to kind of lock A as an anchor with an MP9. So again, not the easiest thing to do. But Marsborne really do have their eyes set here for this B site. They want to go for this hit. They want to keep committing to it. They feel that this is the best plan of attack. The utility now lackluster. Nothing available really except for this smoke that's going to be available for Fruit Cup. He has to burn it now. 45 seconds. Does Marsborne go through this, or do they wait things out and give it some respect? It looks like they want to commit to it. Raining nades. Fruit Cup now needing to be that aggressive rifler. The CT's loading up this kill feed once again, and Marsborne don't seem to have an answer. Wolfie by himself with an open hand on a 1-on-4 with 26 seconds, needing to find the low-hanging fruit of these kills. These players just being a little bit undisciplined, but now they're all grouped up, ready to go, and his head is going to get eradicated. That is going to be a 7-5 as we get ready to go in that second half. Seven to 5 here. Blue Jays get themselves a little bit of a buffer as we get into the second half. But now Marsborne ready to go, dressed in blue. And can they deliver themselves a much-needed map win after such a long time?
Well, let's see if Marsborne can spoil this debut off in style. They have this opportunity to claim some lives here on this defense as Blue Jays go charging in the middle into the open arms of Wolfie. But Snav has found one kill, and they want to go through their own smoke. They want to go straight at Wolfie. He does not know what hit him. Grizz is now getting circumvented all around him. Mata minus getting dinked up in the process. Oh, this is brutal. Want to get the bomb down to try and make things a little easier. Put some pressure on the CTs, but they got to get off of it. They've got to fight. They've got to stand and deliver, but Bottom is definitely going to do that in his own right. 90-degree flicks across the B bomb site as Marsborne grind their way back in to get their 6th round.
Oh my, and man, who other than Bottom to come up alive, right? Getting that, I was thinking like he was so exposed. He was just in the worst position in the world. And you could tell that he was trying to just get out of that double angle, but somehow, some way, man, he just able to pull up another clutch scenario and a much needed one, right? We were talking a lot about, Marsborne. If they can find this pistol, we're going to be right back to an even game. So that's a tough one for Blue Jays. They were looking really, really good on that. Wolf just goes through mid on his lonesome. Wolves usually like to be in a pack, but this one he decides to go alone, and now Blue Jays now needing to rethink of their game plan on this one. And honestly, using this a little bit of time just to discuss for the following round, I'm not even against this. They're just looking for, a quick kill if they can. Maybe, the odd thing just to damage some of that, a little of that money situation. But otherwise, it's, it ain't too much of a thing.
Nope. And Snav won't find anything either. Fruit Cup gets mopped up. And we're at an even keel. When we cut to the break, Laz, and I was saying that this one's a banger, and we've been getting delivery on all fronts. Capable calling out of the Blue Jays, but great adaptations from Marsborne. And now that they've got a little bit of momentum under their wings, how can they carry that onwards? They're going to go for a little bit of a bonus buy here, utilizing these 4 SMGs. Expect something a little bit more aggressive in middle, trying to get up close and personal with these MP9s. But off rip, Snav calling an A contact play. That's a ballsy one, to say the least.
Oh, it's a free site too. Like the fact that they're just going to get this for open grabs. Marsborne, though, the double player in mid, though, is going to allow them to have that donut control very, very quickly. You can already see the Molotov going to get thrown deep. Not going to be deep enough, though. And actually, Freshy's been able to get himself just on the outskirts of it. But now what is Blue Jays going to do with this post-plant position? You can already see the duels are going in favor for Marsborne. A little bit of a back and forth. Wolfie now trying to see what he can do with that MP9, and he actually gets the kill before the flash could even pop. Now you can see Blue Jays. The numbers are dwindling a little bit. The flash is going to get Wolfie completely out of now, but Snap, the IGL, able to smoke that player in the smoke. Look at what Snap's able to do. Find himself double, seeing what else he can do with the kill. He's just tapping away, but it might not be enough. A 10-second defuse. Oh,
No
not
way!
like this. Not like this.
Oh, brother. Snav with the flank of flanks and gets all the kills necessary, but not the round. Brutal scenes there with that first outing there for the Blue Jays. And Marsborne, I mean, that is the best case scenario for them. They didn't want those guns anyways. They've got a buy left in the tank class. They've got everything they could ask for in round number 16. And Blue Jays, they want to battle back straight away. Max loss bonus, no problem. Instant boost up for Slight. Oh, and instantly spot up from Chop. Great diligence there. And instead will dish out damage to that AWP.
Marsborne reactivating in mid right now. You can see it both. I think that's Wolfie and Minus. They're going to get this mid control once again, just putting a lot more of a pressure point against Blue Jays. And Blue Jays looking like they want to recontest for this mid control as much as possible. Dude, are they going to expect Minus to be in this position, though, this late in the round? Wolfie expecting a donut swing. They now know that Wolfie's here. He's going to be able to back skirt here with the AWP. But Minus, he might be able to get gifted this. Trigger discipline, he's going to wait things out. Now he realizes, look, I just got to go for the kill. Players now in Cheetah. Able to get those claws deep. Marsborne losing the numbers, and now Blue Jays have been able to find themselves a site, getting this plant through. But now look at how quick Marsborne are here. They're ready to fight on this. Fruit Cup entertaining the idea of a duel, maybe. Freshy just trying to throw any sort of utility he can to be that support player, but it's only the 1-on-1, and all down to Minus by himself. Everything, a sole mission with a smoke in hand, a kit in his back pocket. Blocking off Slight, but Slight going to be able to get the shot before that smoke even blooms.
I mean, this guy's got tiny, tiny windows to get it over the line on that box, right? But he's nailed both opportunities. One player crossing over, the other before the smoke blooms. We go tit for tat, Laz, and this one's going to get down to the wire. I can feel it. But for the offense to find an incision like that, that completely sends the CT economy spiraling. They're in double eco territory. You're going to have a couple pistols on board around these rifles, but this is that opportunity for Snav to run away with the game. this round right here. If they get this, it's double digits. It's a hampered economy. It's the hard way for Marsborne to get back into the game. So, really, dot your I's, cross your T's when you consider the default in this situation.
Yeah, Marsborne even needing to use their first timeout to kind of, again, just really be crystal clear, like you said. Figure out what they want to do with this. We knew this was going to be a banger, man. We knew this was going to be a bar burner, and boy, oh boy, is it delivered thus far. 17 rounds deep. Anybody's game still. Grizz now going to be able to get the smoke deep, but Snap does get the spot of his shoulder. Once again, Blue Jays just trying to fight for this lane control as much as possible. A 2-3 stack. So again, Marsborne have just vacated this mid control. They're not even looking there. They're not even entertaining that idea as of yet. But if Marsborne get any sort of a rotate through and Blue Jays go for it, man, that's going to be a free sight for the opening.
Certainly. But thinking about this B bomb site, utility is good to slow things down, but the spam from Wolf is even better. Minus hits the ground. Oh, nearly had another player lined up as well, unbeknownst to him. Grizz does find one more to make things a little bit more nervy here for the Blue Jays. And they don't have to go off of this. 45 seconds left. They can still pull the ripcord back to middle. They've still got a bit of a range advantage, but no. They want to commit to this full steam ahead. They spot a rotating player away. And there's only 2 players here. All being said, Freshie might have spotted a little bit of something. Trying to goad out some sort of a fight, but nothing's being given just yet. Freshie has an inkling. He just has that awareness that somebody is around here. And finally they swing 2 dinks, but no frags. And Marsborne now up against a real tough situation.
Yeah, look at the HP though of Wolf, and now Fruit Cup. He's all on the back end here and long, and he's dead. And I can't even believe Marsborne are able to pull this round through.
Yeah,
oh boy.
You got a flying MP9. No utility. No kits either. That is a dire situation. I'd call a save in that situation. But no, the force buy works at the 11th hour, and Marsborne are right back in it, again putting the hurt back onto the Blue Jays. We're not getting any full buy rounds, complete full buy rounds on both ends because of how on edge the economy is for both sides. It's just brutal, and that's the kind of biff that I was looking for when we looked at this lineup in theory.
Oh, now you can just see everybody's just swinging one by one. Minus putting himself at 13. Secondary on the team. Bottom here leading the charge with a 15-10 record. Some good utility, though, available right now for Blue Jays, but can they make this across? A good flash that's going to allow the double players here onto long. Oh, and a bit of an off angle here from Chop. Look at that. He's just able to massacre them. And look at Slight. He doesn't even need an off. He's just going to get that AK ready to go, but he's all by himself now. Tries to walk through the smoke, but Grizz is going to be able to catch his back end. And there we go. 10 is going to be secured. Marsborne now taking a lead after what was, you know, originally a tie game.
And now all of a sudden, Blue Jays, the one to battle back. Marsborne have righted the ship. Minus has been finding a lot more impact in Cave. Chop is doing some good work as well, finding some key multi-kills. And really calling upon the hero at this point, and maybe Fruit Cup is that hero. Minus hits the deck straight away. It's a rush into this A-bomb site to try to cut down MOTM, but this is where he shines. This ET anchor will not be put down. Freshie and Fruit Cup now having to bring out a little bit more firepower, but at this point, Marsborne are running away with it. 11 seems a certainty at this point.
Yeah, it really is. it just kind of feels like, for Blue Jays, like, I don't know if like they're running out of steam or something on this right now. And I would like to see them to call the timeout here coming out soon, because again, like this was a very, very back and forth game. And now Marsborne have been able to find themselves a little bit more of a lead. And this falling round could be really, really influential for how this game could really go. But Marsborne on the brink here to get themselves 11. Freshie might be able to find something, a little bit of a cheeky, a little bit of a jump spot, but again, gets overwhelmed by the numbers. Fruit Cup here with 6 HP. I mean, look, it's asking a whole hell of a lot. It looks like he wants to contest for this. Flash going to get thrown. He gets caught in it. Blind as a bat. And Chop's going to be able to find him. So there we go. 11 will be grabbed up, and now the money is on the board here. So Blue Jays do have the cash flow. But I mean, Paladin, I feel like if this round is going to be a blunder for these guys, like you said, this thing could be over quick.
Oh, this game is done if this round is lost. Call attack. I mean, this is where you want to get experience like Warden on the mic, but they're not going to do it. They're just going to full send it straight into round number 20. And with how Marsborne have really just been improving round on round, this is their swan song. Decent nades as well to slow down the brunt of this attack in the lane. But Chris won't fight forward. He doesn't have assistance, and with that, he'll have to give lane control, and they'll have to give up mid control as well. So a lot of early space taken by the Blue Jays, and a chance to really twist the knife here in this round.
Yeah, they're going to go together. Nobody's going to lurk anymore. Nobody's just going to try to find some sort of an opening in mid. Instead, they're going to try to commit multiple players here through cave. Wolfie finds the better of Slight now. That off versus op question is going to be answered here for round number 20. Blue Jays with just under a minute remaining still have plenty of time to go for the plan number 2. But it does look like they're going to have the lurk of Freshie right now. He's going to go in towards Donut, so he's going to try to put a little bit of a ruse. He's going to try to see if he can catch any of the players rotating here from the CT side. But Snav, the IGL needing to find this entry, needs to be able to find this opening duel, and he does get the better of it, so that's a good start. Maybe able to even take down Wolfie. Just catches the shoulder of him. Now Chop in a prime position here. He might be able to come alive. He just needs to find the perfect timing. That nade's going to definitely help. And just like that, Chop's going to be able to assist it. But Modem's right there with him, holding his hand. And Freshie now on a 1-on-4 with 14 seconds remaining on this. Now down to 10. I don't think he's got a hope in hell. And indeed he does not. And Marsborne on the brink of taking this map away.
I mean, what a round there from Wolfie to find just the right read. I mean, in certain situations there, if you're a fresher IGL, you might get nervous. You might send a third rotation into A, but he held stalwart on that B bombs at 3 players strong, hits the necessary shot in terms of those crossing in players, and Chop does so well to knock down a couple of kills. I mean, I've been needing this guy to step up his anchoring, and he absolutely has. It's not the Grizz show as we were kind of expecting. You got more players to step up in these clutch scenarios than you might think. And now, all of a sudden, this map might just blow past the Blue Jays, and they wouldn't even have a chance to even say anything about it as a rebuttal. This is incredible in terms of the improvements from Marsborne, round upon round, half upon half.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, just the fact that we talked a lot about this in the pre-show is that Marsborne being fully equipped with their regular roster, we were wondering, what are we going to see here today? Are we going to see a team that can really compete, or is it going to be a team that still has some gaps and things that they have to work on just because of all the turbulence they've had? But it's looking like they're able to pack a really good punch, but now they get a little bit over adventurous on this. 2 opening duels in favor for Blue Jays. A lot of damage getting done though, so it can definitely be bounced back here. Modem realizing he needs to get out, but oh no, that positioning just a bit too awkward. He overextended a bit too much, and now Wolfie, he's holding the off. He finds himself one, but look at that good play. Good little bit of teamwork and communication from Blue Jays, getting this 9th potentially on the board here, unless Chop can be able to find the timing in the right place. But I don't think he's in the right place at the right time at all here, Paladin.
This is a save every day of the week. It's a bit more laissez-faire there from Snav. And they managed to get their way out of middle pretty safely. They punished some cave aggression. But you're not going to get that kind of a round every round. You're not going to get all of that control every round. So, yes, they've got themselves a lifeline, but they've still got 3 rounds that they need to put together. This following one's going to be a toughie. And you're probably talking about another buy in the tank after that. So, this is going to be one of the harder comebacks that the Blue Jays would have to showcase here in their debut in the new threads. But it wouldn't be the boss way without a little bit of grit.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Another tactical going to come through now, but Marsborne, and rightfully so. I mean, things are go. This is still anybody's game, right? I mean, obviously the 3 chances here for Marsborne to get this thing done, but I mean, all it takes is Blue Jays to be able to find themselves this round. That money's going to be squashed, and then we could be talking overtime, right? So again, what are we going to see different from Marsborne? We see them get really good mid control. We've been able to see them throw some really good utility as well, just kind of controlling that B ramp. Do we see Blue Jays kind of entertaining the idea of another A hit? I feel like they must know that Freshy's kind of the sole anchor of this site. Do they want to really, or not Freshy, sorry. I mean, do they want to go for, Marsborne kind of anchoring one player alone on this site and like maybe try to see if that could be the winning point for them to get 10?
I mean, it's so hard, right? Because Modem has done such a good job holding down A. I mean, I feel as though he's been just such a safe force on that end that you can't even call these contact plays or these rushes on that end of the map because he's locking it down. Instead, they're going to try to target B, and a bit earlier, I don't know if Marsborne are aware of this level of pace. The spams are in just slightly the right place, but not hitting quite the mark. They're just hoping that something gets offered up to them either way for both teams, but nothing being found. Fruit Cup does take some auxiliary damage. Grizz pushed back here. Exchanging of nades, and Blue Jays will win that exchange.
Oh, and even Chop still just trying to contest. I mean, Double Smoke's going to be thrown onto the ramp now, blocking off for Slight to get that off into motion. Grizz, look at what he's able to do. He's just trying to dance with him a little bit. And now the USPs, there, he gets a kill. I don't know how he's able to find this. They don't even clear him. The CTs, they're just taking these kills away. Leaving it down to the 2-on-4. The bomb is going to be in the hands of Wolf. But he's already getting so much damage against him. Even though he finds this kill against Minus, he's a dead man. And it's all down to Slight now with 37 seconds. The bomb is in no man's land. And this thing is over. Marsborne are going to be able to take this with no prisoners of a 13-9 victory.
Grizz pulling a rabbit out of the hat. Man, absolute Houdini affair in that cave smoke. Dodges death multiple times, just long enough for Chop to pick up the angle. And somehow, some way, Marsborne clutch up. This time, they're on the better end of a close game. And what a debut for Blue Jays to have to wake up to. I mean, the improvements from Marsborne with this full-strength lineup was incredible. I mean, the improvements from players like Minus, players like Chop, the individual form of players like Wolfie hitting necessary shots when asked. It looked so clean.
It really did. And that was the biggest thing, because we were saying, look, like for this team in Marsborne, like we really want to figure out what are they going to be able to bring with this, right? Like, Wolfie's somebody that we always kind of looked at. He's been on different iterations on NA teams. A lot of these guys have, and they all have all different experiences, but it really just felt like everybody was contributing equally, right? I mean, and the other thing, like, and again, I'm glad you brought it up, was the fact of Chop. Like, I felt like you and I briefly talked about it, where he's been kind of on this downward trend a little bit. We finally get to see him performing, at a way better scale. He might not have been like the star player, but at least he was still doing his job. He's still finding those, so much impactful kills, which was so different than what we've seen in the past. So yeah, Marsborne looking so polished for this game. And unfortunately for Blue Jays fans, yeah, they're going to take that first map loss. Grizz, like you said, not really the kitty, or he was the kitty player to watch, but he wasn't the highlight guy, but he definitely pulled up some very, very fun rounds, to get them things moving here from Marsborne.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Steel would have the movement to get that round over the line in that final one. And, if they lose that round, who knows? Money snapped. There's a real world where they can run that all the way back to overtime and then the game's up in the air. So you need a clutch player to do a clutch thing for you, and he stepped up where it counts. So impact from him nonetheless. And with that, we're going to throw ourselves to a quick break in between maps in this best of one series. And with how much of a banger that first one is, you don't want to miss the second one as well. So stay tuned, guys. We'll see you guys in just a little bit.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're ready for the second and last best of one here today. We saw the first one happening from Marsborne being able to take that thing away from Blue Jays, but now we get a second chance on this where it is going to be the decider of Dust 2. Laz and Paladin here to bring you this final matchup here in North America.
Yeah, excited for this one. This is where I think Snav has done his best work. I think his body of work has looked very good on this map specifically. And as far as the Marsborne boys are concerned, this is a map that I think the win rates are a little bit deceptive. I've seen a lot of close games against some top teams on this map from them, and they just haven't been able to get it over the line. But with how they closed out Ancient, with how clutch they looked there, I'm still saying that they've got a pretty good shot at this one right here. And I don't think the Blue Jays are going to just have a walk in the park. I'd like to be proven wrong, but I think there's still a lot to give from Marsborne, especially riding that high off of Ancient.
Yeah, that was such a big motivational booster for these guys too, right? I mean, we were talking about debut for Blue Jays, but Marsborne, having their full roster looking like they really are just menaces in the server, and they felt like everything was just contributing perfectly. Everybody was doing what they needed to do. But now we're on a map on Dust 2 where, now, I mean, we didn't really get to talk a lot about op versus op, but I feel like this map now is kind of a good indication to see what we can find from this, because Dust 2 is an Opera's playground, right? I mean, this is on both sides. It's pretty much equal footing. This is where I'm really, really excited to see what Wolfie's going to be able to bring to this, but also Slight, because we got little glimpses of it on Ancient, but now we're going to get into full effect here for D2.
Yeah, I think both of those players that you mentioned have had quite the impact on Ancient, and I wasn't expecting that at all. But to be completely honest, it was a huge gain point for both of those teams. I think for Slight, the way he was able to open up bomb sites and hold down post plants on the T side of opping was pretty solid. The way Wolfie was maneuvering around the map was pretty solid as well. So honestly, excited to see how the chips fall with that sniper battle. I think that overall Slight impressed me just a little bit more. I think his impact on the CT side was also very much felt. I mean, you saw the number of multi-kills he was able to get, and being at the right bomb site at the right time was very significant. So overall, yeah, I'm going to give that edge over to Slight. But that being said, I think I have to kind of throw stats out the window in certain scenarios because, again, I think that Snav has done a very good job on Ancient. I think if I had to compare the rifle cores, I would take the Blue Jays core. If I talk about clutch plays, I'd take Blue Jays there as well. But at the end of the day, it read 13-9, and we go to Dust 2, and I kind of have to paint the same picture, is that I do favor the upper on the day. I favor the caller on the day, the cores on the day. But at the same time, there's still just a little bit of something that Marsborne have in the tank that could completely spoil this Blue Jays debut. And what a time for Marsborne to come alive in this kind of scenario. It'd be kind of crazy, I won't lie.
Yeah, definitely would be, right? Because I mean, that's where we were saying, Blue Jays are kind of sitting in that number one spot, looking to see how much more they can, find their victories and get themselves just being that number one seed. But not going to be much more of a guessing game. We're ready to go into this final matchup here today on this stream. Marsborne taking on the Blue Jays, and it looks like we're just going to see Blue Jays. They're just going to send it. They're just going to go for a full-on sprint. They ain't slowing down. They just want to see what they're going to be able to find. But look at Chop, able to find this opener. Now allowing even more USPs to find these connections through smokes. They're just finding all the kills in the world, and now just leaving it down to two lonely T's, making it just down to Freshie. The support player needs to come up clutch. Not gonna happen.
Well, right off to the races are Marsborne, collapsing onto that B bomb site. I was gonna question Chop only finding one kill there. He expends way too much of his magazine on one player, but as soon as he does expend that mag, there are so many players to be right there to leap into his assistance. Wolfie finding one, lining up that car headshot angle, and then having a rotation instantly from the lower tons. Great work there from Marsborne to respond in kind as they did. And already on the back foot go the Blue Jays. They're gonna charge up through middle here, try putting the hurt on some players, but that smoke is not good enough. That's actually a CT smoke, mind you. But Wolfie getting aggressive here. Snav not finding the mark. Finally nails one shot, but doesn't find a kill. Snav getting overrun, and he'll fall. These pistols do a little bit of damage, but overall, Marsborne will be very happy with the results, and the Blue Jays will get their guns out.
Yeah, and this one's such a tough map to predict too, right? Like, you know, you made the comment about, you look at things on paper, it really is just hard on a map like Dust 2 because, I mean, both these teams haven't really had more good recent results, in past. So that's a hard thing to kind of, break through as well. But the fact that Marsborne can get themselves, a nice little bit of a boost here on the CT side, I mean, definitely going to be a nice, way for them to pat themselves for the second half. But how much more can they really do? And it looks like a whole heck of a lot more because they're just going to go for that B tunnel control. They're going to have a 3-man crunch onto this. A little bit of utility to trade things back. And look at now, even Blue Jays, they're going to retreat on this plan, leaving the bomb on the outskirts of B, though. Very, very interesting. Looks like they might even try to do a bit of a mid-split to B. But Marsborne, they've given up the B site as well. So now they're going to put their attention right back into mid. They have a good read on this right now, Paladin.
Yeah, not too bad. And it's just so much unbridled aggression across this map. I mean, to have a ballsy call like that to clear out upper that early on in the game showcases that confidence. And now as the dust settles, Snav wants to re-clear this upper B tunnel straight into Minus, and he nails the headshot. Sick stuff there from Minus, and Minus will find another quick burst. Just completely exercises those upper tunnels. And sure, Wolf gets a lurk kill up in A, but he's been found out by Chop, and it's all onto Snav. All of his compatriots have fallen. And he's found out, I guess, I thought he saw Modem's shoulder, but Minus will close it out. Impactful triple kill from him. And off to the races. I mean, just straight gas being put into these rounds from Marsborne.
Yeah, I love the fact that we're seeing them getting really, really aggressive, right? I mean, the fact that just like, putting matters into their own hands. They're going to go for mid control. They're going to, crunch into the B holes. Like, they've done a really, really good job just putting a lot of question marks here for Blue Jays, making Snav's job a whole heck of a lot harder. So the fact that they're putting this much pressure early on in this game, it's going to be frustrating here for Blue Jays. They're going to have to dig very, very deep how to get out of this. Now they look like they're just going to try to swing out of middle, hope for the best. They're running into a full firing range, and Minus is just having a field day right now with a 6-1, leaving the last two Ts split apart from each other. Wolf just banking to see if he's going to be able to get this plan down. Ain't going to happen, and now Slight all by himself in no man's land and pretty much just giving up his body here because he's got no hope in hell he's winning this. I don't know. He might get gifted a kill, but thankfully they rebound nicely.
Looking like my P250 out there. What's going on? All good. Marsborne still gets themselves at 4-0. And, I always consider Snav and the team that he played with before and how when things got out of control, they weren't able to really battle back ever. It was very anti-boss, if you will. I'm very curious to see now that he's playing with a new core, how does that kind of leadership aspect develop for him? How can he lead these players that are a lot more calm, I would say, a lot more, I don't know, I guess zen would be a decent word to use for them. Guys who have been through a lot of situations, who have been through a lot of turmoil in their careers. Look at this. Early B play being called out from spawn for Snav. Flash in through, door smoke up, straight at Chop, and he gets annihilated. That's a save call straight away. And Marsborne will have to give up their first off the back of just one kill.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the B site, right? I mean, it's one of those difficult sites to retake on. So honestly, Marsborne just going for the full save on this, not even a bad move at all. Chop trying his best. He was able to get some good damage against Snav, but just wasn't enough. And I mean, in that kind of a position, you're really kind of playing that like maybe one and done. Maybe you might be able to find that double. Like, I don't feel like you always get to see like big highlight reels in a position like car or closet, but nonetheless, I mean, Blue Jays finding themselves a first round, a much needed one that's been, very hungry for. And all it comes down to is just a simple execution of that B site. It really wasn't anything, overly, complicated. And that's kind of something we've always talked about with even some of the previous games that we commentated on.
Let's see. Marsborne again out, guns out. And saving 4 like that is a good idea, especially when you consider how difficult it is to retake that B bomb site. Something faster being considered here from Fruit Cup, trying to smoke out a molly, but nothing comes, nobody swings, and Fruit Cup can't even take the shot. So we'll drop it back to Slight. We'll slow down the round again. Plan A doesn't work. What's plan B for Blue Jays? Bit of a lurk smoke there.
Yeah, this is nice. Good molly though, just to slow things down and just in case. Marsborne in a bit of an interesting setup because again, you got that player minus just kind of on the outskirts of mid. Now Chop, abandoning the B site. And Blue Jays looking like they're going to go for this, 3-2 split onto the B site. Bomb still on the outskirts of B tunnel. And now things have changed up. Marsborne have actually changed up their composition. Double player is going to be turtle up in the B site. So this is a big change now. This could be good because Blue Jays might not expect this early on. 44 seconds though. They have to get a play moving here. Chop just gets the information. Luckily his life's going to be intact. And look at Minus. How does he get away with that? How does he find a double kill? Just a dry swing like that. Now leaving it for Chop just to burn the time as much as possible. And he's going to get gifted another kill. Slight on a 1-on-4 with the off. Not a hope in hell you're finding that one, son. And there we go. Marsborne again find themselves a convincing round.
I mean, that round should be Blue Jays every day of the week. I mean, you've got a B split on the cards. No short control, no mid control for the CTs. It's just those two players stuck in some real quicksand at that point over there on B. And yet somehow Minus finds a double and Chop finds a triple at the end of the round. I mean, talk about working off of each other. And so far, the chemistry, the power of this rifle core that I've hyped up on the Blue Jay side has completely been stifled. The shoe is quite firmly in the other foot. I mean, just look at the confidence from some of these players, man. Going for this cat boost now, disassembling, reassembling. I mean, there's just a lot of faith in these defensive players to find answers for you, even if they've been out-strategized.
Yeah, that's no question at all. I feel like, for Marsborne, just winning a lot of the, the first map, the first best of one has really just made them play even better. Just like you said, a boost of confidence. And even Wolfie finding himself really good connections with the op. Oh, this is awkward, the positioning, but Grizz thankfully can get himself a little bit more in a fighting form. So now Blue Jays kind of looking like they're unsure what they want to do, but they have to commit to this with 50 seconds remaining. Freshie gonna lead the charge, gonna get blind. And now Wolf is gonna be able to find himself that double and long. So now they've been able to secure this, but Marsborne, big question, do they want to go for this? They have the utility available. They can pop open the smoke and they will, but the players have already crossed. It's a little too late. Bomb's gonna go down. The CTs looking like they're gonna retreat this plan. They were hoping to find a quick kill. Maybe they would have went for it, but Blue Jays, they're going to get on the brink of Wolf able to find that double.
Yeah, you can kind of battle your way out individually a couple of times, but eventually there'll be a strategy there where you just have to kind of put your hands up and say, you got me. And those are one of those rounds. Perfect A split there. So much short control taken by the T side. And yes, they take some severe damage, but they have sold so much attention that when they're being caught in transition trying to pick up the pieces at long, it's already too late. Players have crossed over, and I mean, you can see those X's, those blue X's on the long side. They're in the middle of no man's land. They have nowhere to go. They don't have any cover. They've just got to stand and deliver between two angles, and they can't turn around fast enough. So great work there from the Blue Jays in terms of sticking to your strategy, having an answer in place and believing in your leader, even when things haven't been initially going to plan. Because right now, their leader is calling the right calls. They're out strategizing very well. They've just got to have these individuals come alive. And of course, it's better late than never, but still a bit of a road to climb back into this game.
Yeah, it just feels like right now Blue Jays are kind of looking a little deflated. Like nothing has really been like a convincing round, like you were talking about. Is the fact that, like, you can make some individual plays to get around here or there, sure, but that can't be the only recipe you're going to work on, right? So now the smokes are going to get thrown. They might even just commit to this. Grizz is going to be able to find this kill. No, he will not. I was thinking he had that dead to rights. Fruit Cup is going to get away with it. Making it across. Wolfie's not going to be able to spot them. And, oh, man, I thought maybe he was going to hit that shot. So now things are getting a little bit stunted just with the mollies getting thrown everywhere. Now Freshie looking to lurk as much as possible. A big swing here from the CT side. They're in a prime position right now, Paladin. The bomb's still not even down here with 55 seconds. They're just looking for gunfights. They're still just trying to see what they can work with. And their utility is down to a flash, nade, and an HE, and a smoke. There's not much here to work with. 40 seconds remaining. The CT's just waiting for that plant. This is an awkward round. It's very strange. Chop just on the back skirts of elevator. Double players in sight, and look at that. A blink of an eye. This thing is just turned around once again, leaving it to snap the IGL. Another clutch scenario, but not meant to be. And a 6th round is going to be gained very convincingly here from Marsborne.
And it just took too long to get the bomb down. I mean, yes, there's some chaining of utility, but there was a good 30 to 35 seconds there where there was nothing going on. And I think they were just so terrified that Wolfie had reclaimed the line on short side that they couldn't risk a plant. But I mean, it was all smoke and mirrors. They were not dealing with short press. They were giving the plant. And eventually, I mean, Wolfie realizes, hey, if they're not going to put the C4 to dirt, you can toss in a molly, we can stall this thing out. And you saw how powerful it was. It allowed for the long flank to come in pretty swiftly. And then the elevator player gets in a position, and then, that after that, it's just very simple retake in that position. Chop is always going to find his impact, and everything slides into place there for Marsborne. More impact from Chop, mind you. 126 ADR, 11-3 from your B anchor. Talk about just a complete turnaround from this guy. I'm just so happy to see this kind of improvement with this full strength lineup.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, I'm so glad to see that he's still maintaining that form from, map 1, where he was getting a lot of impact. Yeah, exactly, right? And that's exactly what I was going to say. It's not even a one-off at all. The fact that he's been able to transition this here for, Dust 2, it just seems like everything's, he's been able to really figure things out. Nice little bit of a taparino here from Freshie. Oh my God, Grizz, how does he get away with that double kill? They're just grouped up, they're holding hands. And now Slight, he does get himself a little bit of a kill. That might be enough of an opening here into the B site, but look at the bomb. The bomb's going to be in middle now. The CT's going for the hardest rotate. Slight's able to find another connection, but why are they swinging in mid? Oh no, and Monom's able to find himself a free kill. This is still an open round here with the 2-2. Smoke going to be able to block off this doorway. But again, the CTs, they have a molly to stop things off. They have a smoke as well for the retake. This is not out of the realm here for Marsborne. But Blue Jays, with plenty of time on the clock, still waiting things out. They're not going to go for the quick plant on this. They want to see if the CTs are going to swing this. But this is, again, a deja vu from what we saw before. This is crazy. Nothing has changed from the previous round of round 8 to this. It's just a different site. And now Monom waiting for his timing to go for the swing on this. The smoke's going to block things off. Might try to utilize the smoke to his favor. Oh, they're not even looking at him. They're not even paying attention to him, and he gets away with an easy kill. How does that happen?
I mean, that is just a sick round there from Marsborne. They throw in the doors, or the tunnel smoke, and that just suggests, like, okay, it's both players coming in from CT. There's no way that there could be that late of a tunnel smoke. And Snap is still watching it. He's still aware of it. And as the smoke fades, the presence of mind for Monom, the unkillable on Dust 2 here, finds that last-ditch effort through and knocks out Slight, gives the chance for the second player to swing out from doors. That's beautiful stuff from Marsborne. Now they're winning the mid to late rounds as well. Even when things kind of fall out of favor in that early round situation. This is a Marsborne team that is dangerous, that is well equipped to handle what the Blue Jays are throwing at them. And when you're in such a deficit, how do you battle back if you're the Blue Jays? Maybe Warden has some sort of answer, but for right now, they've got to rely upon a prayer and the hero Galil in Wolf's hands.
Yeah, if there's anybody that's going to be able to whisper, you know, the right things here, it definitely is someone like Warden with a vast amount of experience. But is it going to be enough? Is it going to boost, you know, Blue Jays to find a second wind on this? Because, I mean, again, these rounds have really just not looked convincing at all. Every single scenario feels like it's a lot of overthinking, and they just don't really know what to do in these kind of scenarios, which just seems so unusual. And, like, even right now, they just go for a full swing through a smoke. They're going to be able to actually win this engagement somehow in some way, and that's going to be a B site. So now, this actually could be up for a round here for Blue Jays once again, because the CTs are nowhere near this, so they're just going to keep these guns. Snap might try to find something here. He's going to play around this smoke. Might be able to find the timing if he can. He might be able to get himself a 1 kill, but oh, he might have spotted them. He's not going to go for the shot. And now the T's, they're on a full hunt here, Paladin. They're not even committed to that bomb site. They're just wanting to get rid of these guns as fast as possible.
It's the only way to get back into this game, but there's oodles of cash for the defense. And of course, this long setup is one of the harder ones to break apart in these late game scenarios. And they're not even going to bother swinging out for it. So the Blue Jays get themselves that mid-B split that they've been looking for a couple of rounds. It's a bit ballsy to go through that utility, but Wolf's Galil does lead the way. And all of a sudden, Blue Jays have something to hang their hat on, but it's slim pickings at this point. They've got to find more in terms of kind of shifting this narrative back the other way, because it still feels like a meager win. It doesn't feel like a definite turning of the tide.
Full on control here now for Blue Jays. Nobody lurking around. Grizz is going to be the one that's, again, just posted up in connector right now. Blue Jays actually going to commit to this, though. This could be a bit of a ruse, but it looks like that might be the plan. Simplify things. Don't overcomplicate it. Take things as a unit. Now they're going to pull back just a little bit, waiting things out. So plenty of utility to re-execute into the site if need be. That's what we're going to see here with the connector smoke. Marsborne already ready with 3 players committed on this. You can already see the rotates are happening. Minus has already pushed himself through mid. He has so much information that no one is there. So now the utility is going to get thrown. Grizz in a tough position. He's going to be able to find this one. Surely not. A second he does. What does he find? 3! He's a thief! And now you can see Blue Jays. It was looking okay. It was looking like maybe they were going to work with something, but no. Marsborne putting themselves at an 8-3.
Read like a book and torn to shreds are the Blue Jays. I mean, it's one thing to have all 5 players know exactly what's coming from the CT side, but it's another to just tear them apart. Grizz on that headshot angle, it's a dangerous one to get rid of, and he does such a spectacular job at holding that end of the map. Doesn't even have to call upon the second and third lines of defense. And now, Blue Jays are going to try to simplify it even further. I was going to say with the B rush, but they'll think against it. They'll instead punish the lower aggression, but that's not without some losses. MOTM takes out Snav to keep it into a 4v4.
Yeah, Blue Jays just running out of options. Like, what do we even do? They're scratching their heads. They're actually just going to walk all the way back from lower B, out of the B tunnel. Oh, man. But look at Marsborne. You can see how active they are. They're already through mid. They've already now been, they're going to start to clear lower B. This is going to allow Modem to just get himself in a better position. He's still on the catwalk. This is the intel. Now they can go, okay, look, nobody's here. This is again, so much investigating that's happening right now. The fact that Marsborne are moving this much, this is perfect. This is a perfect CT side right now, because they're going to read this once again, like you said, reading the book. They're going to read the damn same book. They shredded it. Now they put it back together and they're reading the same one all over again.
Just to shred it once more, right? I mean, this is a wonderful CT side. Wolfie, or Grizz rather, should have a deep sightline, but he's playing off from short. MOTM will take the first bit of contact. Smoke up for Minus to stand and deliver, and he absolutely will. The flashes from Grizz are good, and Minus is having himself around. 1v3 in total now necessary for the Operant Slight, and he's being encroached upon whether he knows it or not. Chop is right there, and Slight still axes one to the ground. But it's all she wrote. Chop will end the half with 13 kills. Marsborne with 9. We'll see you after the break.
Marsborne showing us a dominant first half with a 9-3, and now they're going to be switching things over to the T side. Blue Jays, let's see if they've had a couple minutes here with their coach to figure out what they need to do differently to getting themselves back in this game, or it might be all she wrote here, Paladin.
Well, Wolf on the Wolfie to start things off, and maybe that's that right foot that you're talking about. But they're going to need a whole lot more. 4v5 now for Wolfie to call from the grave. And they'll continue to encroach upon this catwalk. Beautiful shot from Minus. Now Snav's under fire, and Minus will double down. More impact here from the young stud. And they completely call a halt.
What's a fake?
It's. I mean, I don't even necessarily know if it is a fake. They can just freeze. They know that the rotation from the CT side has to come out. They drop into CT smoke. They'll send Minus to the Wolves once more. He spots another head. Doesn't take the shot. They've now realized this B bomb site is open for business, and Minus is not missing a beat. Another massive kill there from him. And now Freshie gets blindsided as well. It's all on to Wolf, the guy that made this round at least minutely possible, but it is all Minus, subtracting his enemies one by one.
Yeah, now Wolf with, again, nothing really to work with. He's got that kit, but now he's getting flanked. Everybody's just going to be able to swing him, and yeah, this thing's over. And I love that round from Marsborne because you have Chop. He was just in the tunnel. He was just hugging the wall just to get any noise cue for the rotates. That's kind of when you see everybody just halt, right? That's when they get those double kills on the cat. Everybody just freezes because Chop's saying, look, I think they're already rotating. They're already overextending on this. So that's when you can see they were kind of debating, like, do we go for it at A or do we just kind of pull back at B? But yeah, again, the fact that Minus was able to find that double opener like that and Chop just kind of playing the information game, that was a chef's kiss of a pistol round if I've seen one.
Well, BLUEJAYS are going to try what Marsborne did to them, but they don't have the utility really. They don't have the weaponry either. And they're just going to have to try and make it work. A hard gamble coming out from the BLUEJAYS. 3 players leading over to A with the 4th in tow. And you know, it's a pretty strong read, to be fair. With a retake of long on the cards, but actually going to walk into the lion's den and take a face full of lead. Fruit Cup is here, but he's at a rough one here last. He'll hit the deck. Slight now up to bat, misses just that ledge, and sure he takes one down with him, but the damage is already done. It's a 4v2, and both Wolf and Snav have no idea the HP bars of these of the enemies on the other end, that Marsborne have gotten themselves their 11th pretty much cleanly.
Yeah, pretty much cleanly indeed. Yeah, and I mean they just got to save these guns. So, but I'm just impressed. I mean, I'm in so much awe right now because Marsborne. I just can't believe the difference of what we're seeing with their full roster. I mean, I can't stress it enough because it felt, you know, when we first watched them, you know, it was really not looking that great. The results were kind of all over the place. A lot of maps that felt like they could have done better. They weren't, but they have just really reinvented themselves, playing some phenomenal Counter-Strike right now. And BLUEJAYS on the brink of actually, you know, I was thinking, looking at these 2 best of ones, I was like thinking this, you know, could be a 1-on-1 split, but I mean, even now, I mean, BLUEJAYS are on the brink of going 0-2, and I mean, yes, they're still in the #1 spot, but taking those losses like that, not even able to find a best of 1 win, it's gonna hurt, man. It's gonna cost you a little bit in the long game.
Yeah, and I mean, it would sour the taste of finally getting an organization's backing and having to put up a performance like this. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but it's one they'll have to stomach if this continues the way it is, and it's another force buy. I mean, I don't blame them. You're in such a dire hole that you just got to find anything to dig yourself out of it. And if you're Marsborne, you can call your own slow-paced game. You can really constrict the CTs, burn their utility, and really make them fight for every inch of this map. Look at that flash. Completely takes the Opera off the angle. And they'll get themselves short control with ease. Do watch Fruit Cup here in the mid round though. Quick flank up and along. Has got a couple of backs turned.
Yeah, this is really good. But oh, he just can't seem to find more than the one. I was thinking this might have been a good, but Snav actually gets caught with the mullet. He doesn't really matter. He still finds himself at least that 1 kill. But now you can see lower B going to be grabbed. Grizz actually gets a nice lurk kill onto A. So that's a free A site right now. Well, Wolf, he's kind of figuring out where do I go. Now he's going to put himself into mid. If he can find this kill against Modem, that's going to be the bomb dropped. Not going to happen. Modem just posted, waiting for him. And now we're on the map point here, the series point of this best of 1. Marsborne with a 12-3. So now we would need to see 9 rounds in a row for BLUEJAYS to find themselves in overtime, but I just don't know if it's likely for just what we've seen so far.
I mean, no, they've rolled over already. They've been shot out of the sky, and Modem has only died twice, so that's not what you like to see if you're a BLUEJAYS fan. And As this one last ditch effort, Slight catches a body through the doors, and Fruit Cup tries to extend play just a little bit longer, but Wolfie is here. Cuts down his IGL counterpart, and yet again, if they want to call a long scale, they've got the utility and weaponry to do so. And I mean, Blue Jays already know what's going on. They've cleared out lower, so you really don't have any other option.
Yeah, they really don't. And for Blue Jays to be in this kind of a position where they've lost their IGL, so now Snav can kind of watch a little bit more closely of what's going on. And even now they're kind of repositioning themselves as well. Like they were grouping up towards A. Now they're kind of thinking, look, this might be a B hit. They might even try to crunch onto mid. Fruit Cup's already doing some investigating on Catwalk. Bomb has actually made its way all the way through T-spawn. So Freshie, he's holding a very tight angle. He needs this kill. I mean, thankfully Wolf's going to be in the site here to join, but I mean, Grizz will be able to get this duel. It's going to cost him a significant amount of HP. Chomp's able to find another one. Oh no! And look at the CTs here, Paladin. They're split apart. Slight, he's already exposed, so they know exactly where these guys are. They don't know exactly where Wolf could be, but they still got 26 seconds. And now they might even just try to re-aggress onto this A site. Slight has to stay alive. Like him playing the smoke like this, I guess, is something, but not the weapon you want. And he doesn't even have the right pistol here to, you know, be able to help him out. Oh God, he turned his back. He's turned his back. No! Oh man, they should be able to get this bomb down. They got to get going though. They have to plant it right now. And I think they're going to get it within that last second. And this could be all she wrote.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Blue Jays completely pantsed in their debut here against Marsborne. Now that they are at full strength, they are a force to be reckoned with here at ESL Challenger League Season 49. And talk about competition. There is competition afoot at every corner. And yes, you've got organizational backing, but there's a lot more work to be done here, Laz. And this team still has to have this cold water to kind of kickstart them now that they do have an organization moving forward.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we were really talking about was the fact of just, you know, looking at a team like Marsborne where they have been able to play some competition, but that again wasn't their full roster. Blue Jays, this was a really big test for them. Like we were talking a lot about like Marsborne have been able to have like pretty decent results early on, then it started to really just become a bit of a loss streak for them. But at the same token, it's like Blue Jays, I mean, they've been able to steamroll a lot of the competition. They split that map with, or split the series with NRG like you talked about. But really, this is probably the second best, you know, competition they've played, and they really got outclassed. So a lot needs to happen in the lab. And unfortunately, you know, for Blue Jays fans, it's going to be the double loss here tonight. But look, there's still plenty of season left that they can bounce back on.
On the flip side of things, though, very happy with what I saw from Marsborne now that they did have Grizz in the lineup. Yes, he didn't necessarily have an insane performance. I mean, he's still positive at the end of the day. But you got to talk about the rest of the cast, the supporting cast. Players like Chop, players like MOTM finding so much impact on those extremity positions. And then you throw Minus into the amount of impact that he showed on Dust 2. And all of a sudden, this team just kind of whirs back to life on an individual level. And then you've got, obviously, the strategy also falling into place. Things just look so good for Marsborne if they can have Chop and MOCM having these kinds of games on a regular basis. And it really bodes well for their future. And I hope that we can see these guys make a deep run at playoffs and become a mainstay within ESL Challenger, because we've got a lot of talent on this team that deserves to have a little bit more time in the limelight.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. And that's the really exciting thing where, you know, I think we were talking a lot about from Marsborne where, you know, they were a team that got picked up by an organization. So now that they've got their full roster here, it's really the sky's going to be the limit for these guys. So that is going to be it here for us on the stream tonight. But, you know, for further action that's going to be happening, just make sure to check out all the social media from myself, Laz, and Paladin, and of course production. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will see you another day and another time. Bye-bye.
Think you've seen it all? With Faceit Watch's Point of View Selector, you can experience the game from any pro's perspective. Use the multi-view feature and customize the stream with up to 4 angles. Control what points you see while earning rewards. Drops are activated and lucky winners will receive Faceit points. And if you ever miss a match, VODs are now available. Get instant access